Every so often within the world of entertainment comes along talent that transcends the norm and cements itself as more than just iconic, but legendary. And few have achieved the status of Elvis Presley. The highest-selling solo artist in history, Elvis left behind a legacy that still impacts our culture and the music industry today. Elvis inspired millions, and his life was full of personal victories and hardships before his untimely death. With so many biopics made about historic and iconic figures, Elvis seems like a no-brainer. His life was packed full of events that make for an interesting story on screen. From his career itself and his infusion of R&B, country, and gospel, to his home life surrounding his stillborn twin brother, his mother and father, his relationship between his daughter Lisa Marie and wife Priscilla, from his time in the military to his work on film, his involvement in civil rights and passion for gospel to his downfall with depression and drug use, and even his being taken advantage of by his manager, Colonel Tom Parker. Any of these subjects could fill the scope of an entire film. Enter Baz Luhrmann, creative mind and director for films such as Moulin Rouge, the modern adaptation of Romeo and Juliet starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and The Great Gatsby. Luhrmann is known for his visual and musical flair on film, and the idea of him tackling an Elvis biopic felt promising. Elvis, the movie, follows the legend and the man throughout his career, portrayed on screen by Austin Butler. Framed as a story told by his manager Tom Parker, played by Tom Hanks. From the get-go, Parker is set up as the film's main antagonist, and much of the movie is about Parker's shady handling of Elvis's career and money. But the film touches also upon everything else I mentioned too, and a bit more, glossing over many details to fit as much of Elvis's life in as possible, and while the movie works as a whole, it never feels like a definitive representation of the iconic man. While titled Elvis, the film places a lot of focus on Colonel Tom Parker, and while he is an integral part of Elvis's career and life, there are times when the movie feels like it is invested more into telling Parker's story than Elvis's. Luhrmann's choice of framing Elvis's life through Parker's tale and highlighting Parker as the villain of Elvis's story is a deliberate one that could have been a unique film in and of itself. But it also never takes the time to set these plot details up as the purpose of the film. It uses Parker for conflict, often giving him the spotlight, but still tries hard to showcase that this film is about the scope of Elvis's entire life, so much that we have too many competing narratives. The major narrative of Parker, which doesn't become fleshed out until the movie's end, and several smaller narratives surrounding key events in Presley's life. We see his relationship between his mother and father, a brief spiel about his service in the military, a few nice moments about his budding romance with Priscilla, and brief mentions and nods to Jesse, but because the film doesn't focus on Elvis as a living, breathing man with dreams and emotions, no emotional points surrounding his life land as effectively as they could. Instead, painting him as a legend, a rebel, and an icon, which are absolutely all things he was. But these are also the aspects of Elvis the public already knows. The internal struggles and the deep love he had for the people in his life are the things that endeared fans to Elvis, not just his talent and rebel status, and these are the things glossed over most. Outside of the film's lack of deeper narrative, the movie does a great job of highlighting the aspects of Elvis it does focus on, with the things that land best being driven by Austin Butler's terrific performance. Butler delivers heart, passion, and emotion, giving a performance that transcends the stereotypical Elvis impersonator, but delivers on reminding us there was a real human being behind the status of king. Where the story fails to give us the human parts of Elvis, Butler's performance delivers. With the scope and magnitude of Elvis and his impact on the industry, Luhrmann's flair for music and film again seemed promising. But outside of a few sequences mostly at the film's beginning and end, the film is much less in your face than what Luhrmann has done in the past. And even his use of fusing modern music in a period piece doesn't lend justice to Elvis as someone who changed music. The extravagant cinematography and modern music could have been used to highlight Presley as a performer and someone who changed the industry, but instead doesn't really do anything to lift up the singer. The movie tells us Elvis was great, which audiences already know, but doesn't feel like it makes an effort to showcase why he was great outside of the things most hardcore fans will already know. As a whole, Elvis is mostly well done and will please casual fans and audiences, and maybe a few die-hard fans as well. But overall, it feels a bit lackluster for a movie about one of the biggest names in entertainment to ever exist. I give Elvis 2.5 out of 4 stars.